It's yet another beautiful morning and you're listening to the Fatboy Show on RX Radio. Are you doing well? Well, I would hope so. And if you're not doing well, here's a solution. Keep listening to the great music that can only be found here on RX Radio and everything will be fine.
Oh, yeah.
But what about if you wish to get married and you happen to have had a child with the person? Is it an automatic ticket to marriage? If you have a child with someone, or let me put it this way, should having a child with someone always equate to marrying them?
No.
Should it be treated as one and the same?
No, I don't think so.
Because I know of a guy who passed away, and he was unmarried, but on his funeral, as I think the elders were calling on people to say something, he said, hey, his wife is here. Wife, come.
His wife?
Yes, she
from
was
the afterlife?
She was the baby mama.
Oh.
So he had a child with this lady. And so she was treated as wife, or at least for the purposes of that ceremony, she was afforded the title. And it seems to be how most people see baby mamas. They just assume to be the person's wife. You are a wife. Maybe legally not, but kind of colloquially.
In a way, yes, because traditionally you had babies with the person you plan to spend the rest of your life with. But are we still that same traditional society? Because nowadays baby mamas are, what's it called, a fleece?
The what?
A finesse. Let me use the US version.
Finesse. They finesse the baby daddy.
It's a strategy, you get. Because in the modern day, with all these birth control methods, if you didn't want a baby with someone, you would just not have a baby,
of course,
with someone.
Every child born today is born by choice.
Almost entirely by choice. I'll make the exception for village people who don't have this knowledge.
But if you're living in Kampala and you get a child, you wanted it.
You wanted it. You wanted to keep it. These things are showing up 9 months in. Like, I didn't know I was pregnant. I'm like, okay, that's a possibility.
There's so many things
highly unlikely.
There's so many things a woman can do before the sex act, during the sex act,
and
after the sex act. She has enough time to decide whether or not she wants to have a child. So by the time the child is conceived,
it was part of the plan.
Yeah.
And even after conception, there's still ways, you could deal with the situation.
There are some unfortunate ways.
I'm not suggesting anything. I don't even encourage these means, but I understand that they are available, and there's been a very heavy advocacy for it, right? For it to be available. Okay. So I'm like, okay, since it's there, the least you can do is utilize the means you have, right? So for me, I don't think, like I said, with the exception of the village people who don't have the knowledge of these things, or the Catholics who have the knowledge and just choose to keep the baby. Those are the two exceptions I'll make. But for everyone else, I think it's entirely up to you.
As a strategy, though, does it work for the woman who may plan such a thing in order to become a legal wife? Let's say she wishes that a child being born would escalate the relationship to where it becomes a marriage. There's been cases of that happening. There've been
many.
There've been people who've given birth and not long after you hear that she got married to the guy.
Yeah.
But of course, it's quite rare.
Most families push for it. I've seen this situation in my own family.
Okay.
I have a cousin who was in a similar scenario, had a thing with someone,
children came.
A child came, there's a kid, and she comes to the family. Hey, it's 7 months in. I wasn't ready for this. And everyone's like, 7 months though. But, since you're carrying our bloodline, we will take care of you.
Was she still with your cousin?
Not at the time.
Okay.
It was a thing where he was trying to hide the baby. But I think it's a very clear sign when someone tries to hide you and the baby.
A Bruno K type scenario?
Bruno K style, yeah. I guess skipped A to whatever letter and just went straight for the K. So,
yeah, man.
A to J, straight to K. And I think it's very telling when someone doesn't want to show the world that you're pregnant with their child. Or the reverse would be if someone doesn't want the world to see that they're pregnant with your child. You get, like, either for whichever gender, it's very telling. So I wouldn't recommend trying to force them into a marriage scenario because, that's just going to make things. It's good for the kids, But it also only works if the two people actually are capable of getting along.
That is true.
You could co-parent and not have to be married, because that's an option nowadays. 20, 30 years ago in Uganda, that would have been very absurd.
Very.
Yeah, but in this modern day where someone says, I can have a baby, I just need a man to inseminate me and I can give birth to my own child and raise them by myself. They don't need to see the father. I'm like, well, okay. I think that's a deal most dudes would take.
Yeah.
As in, I wouldn't recommend it either way, because, the dude will take the deal, but the kid will want to know the father.
Oh, that's true. And that's where it can get a bit tricky.
That's where it gets...
But you also have to be careful of chicks who will say that to you, that, oh, let's just have the kid and I'll take care of it. Don't worry about it. She will make you worry about it. When that child comes, she'll be like, yo, dude, you're the daddy.
You are the one who...
Come do this, come do that, come do the other.
But that's the trick, man. I wouldn't recommend it. Just because you had a kid together, yes, you messed up. One of you wanted the kid. For me, what it says is, one of us wanted this more than the other.
And then the child came.
One of us used the child to make this happen.
Well, if the end result is accomplished, then isn't that a win?
For you, yes. For the kid, I don't know.
Only time will tell.
Only time will tell.
Keep listening to The Fatboy Show, to number one station, RX Radio.